I bet every third day I have the kids physically doing something, small projects on the way to a bigger one. So what I'm gonna share with you guys is the Culminating Project, and then I have various somewhat sketchy support, assignments leading up to them, basically. But basically what I'm going to share with you guys is the projects, and then the idea is that you can support them. And then I'll show you a little bit about how I teach the skills. How many of you guys are familiar with CUDA software? And what I can do is, all right, for this problem, I am going to do, they need to be able to understand combining like terms. And it gives me the opportunity to say, all right, I can give easy ones, medium, or hard ones. So in this case, I'm going to say I'm going to make a multiple choice so it's easy to grade. I'm going to give them medium ones. I'm going to give them 8 of those, add and continue, and it basically makes a worksheet for me, right on the spot. So this is basically how I support it, and if there's not another worksheet that gets exactly to what I want to teach them, I have just been making it. I just have stacks of stuff, honestly. This has taken me a lot of time. I've worked hard on this, but it's been so fun, and kids like it. The goal is to solve the problem by whatever means.
Right.
Really, that's the goal. And if they need to go online and, if they can't solve the quadratic, they just go online and punch it into something and it solves it for you. Good enough for me, in some circumstances, if that's not what I'm trying to teach them.
Right.
So yeah, to just use whatever tools, because the goal is to come up with a meaningful product, not to, the goal is to teach the math, right? But for them, their goal is to be able to do it. So yeah. So this is kind of where we start the kids out with their logic. It's like, all right, let's go outside and throw a string over the greenhouse, and you tell me 2 different ways to calculate the slope of that roof. Go. Half an hour they come back later, like, my string got stuck over the fence. But it's very real. It's not challenging math, certainly. And this student would just she would die in your class. There's no way. But she ended up, this was the very beginning of the year, and we worked all the students through progressively more and more challenging work samples. So this was an assessment, okay, until eventually she was able to pass all of her state work samples. Let's just talk about how this relates to the Common Core and work samples for a little bit. Like I said, I don't love work samples, but it's part of our reality. This was the work sample. Create a paper cylinder cup that will hold exactly 12 ounces and explain exactly your mathematical process. And this kid just, on a blank sheet of paper, did all the math, wrote out all the webs.
Did the kid have to make the cup?
Yeah, awesome. Make the cup. You had to make it. In fact, you had to cover it with enough tape and crayon that would hold water. So, yes, so this is basically what we decided to do is we wanted our assignment and our assessments and our feedbacks to look like this. And so that's kind of where we're headed. My background was in engineering. This was back in the days when you didn't get credit for your assignment unless it was turned in all caps, on green graph paper, and all the engineering students are so proud of their little cool little mechanical pencils. It was all pretty nerdy, honestly. But there was a standard format for every single assignment, and it was you have to give it a title. You have to write what's given. You have to write what's required. You have to articulate your solution. Then you have to give the answer, and if the answer was not double underlined, you wouldn't even get credit. It's engineers, right? I complained once, who cares I got the right answer, or I got it mostly right, I just did something wrong. And the guy said, if the bridge falls down, you don't get partial credit. All right, fine. So, and then what we did was we just added for our purpose the analysis. Okay, and it's up here. But instead of calling the engineering write-up, we have it posted in every class, it's the work sample write-up. So every kid, when they go to do their state work sample, they're like, oh snap, I know what's required. I got the title, I got the given, I write down every single thing, I have what's required, I write the solution, I describe it, I show the math, I show my answer, and I analyze it. And then if you look at this popcorn problem, it shows, this is my example for how I wanted this written up using our engineering write-up, but which is also the perfect format for these work samples. So every kid turns in all their assignments in this format, and when they get to the work sample, like, they're already doing it. And the people, the graders at Lane ESD, they like, whenever a Calapooya paper comes through, when they have those grading sessions, they're like, oh yeah, this is from Calapooya, because every single kid writes given, required, solution. You know, it's like the formula is taught. The math work sample rubric, if you look at it, it is basically the same. Making sense of the task, which is, that's the given and the required. Presenting and solving, you know, that's more or less the solution. Communicating your reasoning, that's kind of breaking it up into a written and a mathematical column. Accuracy is pretty much, did you get the right answer or not, right? And then reflecting and evaluating is the evaluation. And so what we've basically done is, I mean, we're teaching directly and shamelessly to this test. But it's a great thing, because we feel like it tests the right thing. It tests their ability to problem solve, to communicate, to use logic, and the fact that for once the state test and our curriculum are like going the same place. We're like, hooray! You know, we love teaching to this test. So that's how this is all going to work. So from here on out, for all these other ones, I want you guys to do all of your write-ups in this format, just like this, with title, given, required, solution, answer, and analysis. Okay? The engineering write-up is over here. The state work sample is over here. And they're essentially the same. So, but when you call it the engineering write-up, they think, oh, that's cool. When you call it the state work sample format, they're like, oh, man. So, you know, we just call it the engineering write-up. So, what do they say? You sell the sizzle, right?